In a private high school, students hang out, and a hopefully young boy confesses his love to a girl. Despite her appreciation for his friendly nature, she finds the idea of dating him repulsive. This rejection deeply affects Eijo Rintaro, a hopeless romantic. Rintaro later cries to a friend about getting rejected 100 times. Rintaro's friend admires his persistence but reveals he won't be around much longer, ruining their shared memories. The friend, shocked to learn Rintaro confessed to a baby girl in his infancy, bids farewell. Seeking solace, Rintaro prays at a shrine where an unexpected encounter with a scammer-looking old man, the shrine's god, unfolds. The old man predicts Rintaro's destiny. He'll have a shock on meeting his soulmate and will have a rare 100 soulmates due to his previous rejections. A month later, Rintaro enrolled in Ohana no Mitsu High School. Coincidentally, the next day, he encounters two girls, Sundar Karen and Lud Hikari. As they interact, a shock runs through their cores, hinting at a deeper connection. Rintaro suspects the girls are his soulmates. Later, while walking towards the nurse's office, both girls get close to Rintaro, who feels like he's in heaven. After hearing about a four-leaf clover myth, the girls run off to find one. 4 hours later, Rintaro finds them still searching, and his interactions with them become more intimate. Karen reluctantly accepts a drink from Rintaro, and Hikari, attempting an indirect kiss, spills the drink. Rintaro cleans her skirt, leading to Hikari confessing her love. Karen, witnessing this, confesses her feelings too. Rintaro, overwhelmed, runs away. At night, Rintaro seeks advice from the love god and learns both girls are ideal partners. Due to a mistake, Rintaro has 100 soulmates, and he must make them all happy to avoid misfortune. Thinking of confessing to the girls secretly, Rintaro decides to confess to both openly the next day. He declares his inability to hurt one girl by choosing the other and promises to make both happy. Initially outraged, Karen eventually accepts, understanding Hikari's feelings. Rintaro successfully navigates his way through 100 rejections to have two beautiful girlfriends. Well done, King. The following day, Rintaro excitedly shares with a pole that he finally has a girlfriend after enduring 100 rejections. The pole seems bewildered before being rescued by Rintaro's two girlfriends, Karen and Hikari. Karen calls him out for talking to the pole, exhibiting her tsundere nature, while Hikari happily holds Rintaro's hand, casually mentioning the great weather. The trio walks to school, with Karen too shy to ask to hold Rintaro's hand. Hikari revels in the strong and masculine weather, qualities weather doesn't usually possess, and Rintaro eventually offers to hold Karen's hand, creating an atmosphere of young love. Later, Hikari asks Rintaro to use her first name, causing flustered reactions. Encouraged, Karen also musters the courage to request the same, bringing them closer. Inside the school, they encounter a student fleeing from the vice principal, an old hag fond of administering punishments through French kisses. The girls then inquire about Rintaro's first kiss, learning he hasn't had it yet. Eager to help, they take him to the roof and attempt various tactics to initiate the first kiss, including using their lips to check his fever. However, both girls get into each other's way. Rintaro then reveals a premeditated plan to keep both girls happy, involving blindfolded kissing to maintain secrecy. However, mishaps occur, preventing the intended outcome. Rintaro would either grab Hikari's assets or touch Karen the wrong way, resulting in failure. Distraught by his self-perceived incapability, Rintaro runs through the school halls to get his first kiss. The girls help him narrowly avoid the traumatizing vice principal. In a last-ditch effort, Rintaro finally proposes simultaneously kissing both girls, making them share his first kiss but also requiring them to kiss each other. Initially embarrassed, the girls agree, and they share their first kiss in a unique ritual reminiscent of a UFO summoning. The following day, the trio hangs out in the school library. While reading cookbooks for meal ideas, Rintaro notices a shy, petite girl reaching for a book. Their eyes meet, and an immediate shock is felt as Rintaro discovers his third soulmate. This girl, named Shizuka, who had always been a sheltered, lonely princess, was about to experience the best change in her life. Rintaro backs off to let her get the book, but the girl wants him to continue. As he makes conversation with her, Rintaro finds out that the girl has social anxiety, which forces her to make people read lines from a book to communicate with her. After learning she's the librarian, Rintaro asks the girl for some book recommendations. She ends up giving him a pile though, which Rintaro accepts but fails to take home due to lacking a library card. Seeing his disappointment, Shizuka offers him the book she uses to talk, letting him take her possession. After his chat with Shizuka, Rintaro goes back to his girlfriend and tears up watching them work hard for his sake. Later in his room, Rintaro reads Shizuka's book. It's a love story between a knight and a princess, forever separated by birth. Rintaro remembers the god's words about a soulmate unable to connect with their soulmate losing all their luck and perishing. The next day, Rintaro returns Shizuka's book after having read it. He notices the second volume of the book in her hands. Later, they sit together to talk, and Rintaro discusses what he likes about the book. He then notices how easily Shizuka flips the pages over to trace her lines, realizing she knows them very well. Shizuka reveals that she has always been lonely and thus read the books countless times over and over again. She thanks him for talking to her despite her weird trait, but Rintaro assures her he doesn't mind. He then requests and takes the second book from her. The library clerk later notices that Shizuka's blushing face seems to be in a good mood. A few days pass, though, and Rintaro doesn't visit Shizuka. This leads her to lose hope. Later, she sees Rintaro with his girlfriends, dashing all her expectations. Shizuka thinks that Rintaro is just being friendly with her and obviously doesn't care that much about her. She remembers her childhood, being abused by her friends and mother for being so unusually shy, and her false hopes of Rintaro may be helping her out. After Shizuka goes back to sadly sit in the library again, Rintaro finally comes to meet her again. He makes her download an app on a phone and sends her a package. This package contains all the lines from her favorite book in the proper order, just so she can use text-to-speech to talk. When Shizuka remembers that this particular book never had an ebook release, she learns that Rintaro typed every character out one by one just for her into the text file. This sincere act of genuine kindness moves Shizuka, who tears up looking into Rintaro's warm eyes. She musters up her courage to declare her love but mentions that she's afraid she'll never be good enough for him. However, Rintaro becomes the White Knight from her books and promises to love her back, no matter the circumstances. Rintaro has to explain this story to his other two girlfriends. Karen gets mad at him for floundering around, but Hikari is moved that he had the grace to not dump his old girlfriends. Rintaro assures the girls that if he ever hurts one of his lovers, he will commit seppuku, as such a cowardly man would have no right to live. The two girls quickly find out about Shizuka's quirks. To get them acquainted, Renato starts listing habits he noted about the girls, such as Hikari sucking on her finger while thinking, Karen twirling her hair when flustered, or Shizuka tapping her feet while reading books. This immediately wins over the girls, who melt at how much attention Rintaro pays to them. He then notes that Hikari pouts while kissing him and Karen forgets to breathe. Disregarding the beet red faces, Shizuka wants to kiss Rintaro as well, but not before marriage. Meanwhile, as Karen and Hikari go back to their usual banter fawning over Rintaro, he notices Shizuka staying quiet. Thus, he decides to play a game with the girls, the winner of which gets to tickle the loser. Rintaro intends for the girls to tickle each other and get closer, but all of them just want to get tickled by him. Somehow, Rintaro ends up the winner every time. He tickles Karen, who just feels suspiciously flustered and shy. Hikari, who readily offers her body to him but gets reminded by Karen to stay within her limits, and little Shizuka, who uses the phone to laugh anyway. Finally, Shizuka manages to tickle Rintaro. However, she only lightly taps him. After the game, Rintaro heads to the washroom. Once he's gone, Karen gets angry at Shizuka for being so quiet and reserved. While Hikari tries to calm her down, she tells Shizuka to use her full potential to tickle Rintaro. But the shy girl feels like she shouldn't get too close to Rintaro, since his two other girlfriends are way better looking than her. This wins the other two over, who reassures her that Rintaro can name 50 cute things about her instantly. Later, Rintaro returns from the bathroom, feeling relieved that giving the girls some space worked. Shizuka is up again, and she musters some courage to ask Rintaro for a kiss. He pats her cute head before kissing her. Seeing his two other girlfriends stare intently, Rintaro kisses them as well, leaving all the girls swooning and drowning in happiness. One day, the exam results are out. Rintaro's girlfriends remember that he left to retrieve his phone from the class, a possession he didn't want to lose in case he lost all his memories with them. While they swoon over him, Rintaro enters the class to find a nerdy Nano studying. He wonders why she isn't looking at the results, but Nano already seems to know she'll place first. The two of them make eye contact, in which both of them feel a certain shock. Rintaro returns to the girls and finds out that Hikari scored the highest and he scored the lowest out of their group. After cheering up the girls for their hard work, Rintaro realizes Nano did indeed place first. According to rumors, she was a human AI who knew everything. The next day, Rintaro gets paired with Nano for a science project. He finds out that instead of performing the practical, she just notes everything down from a book. Rintaro tries to get her to perform, but Nano just thinks it's inefficient and unnecessary. During one of his experiments involving the cells of onion peel, Rintaro cuts his finger trying to peel an onion. Before he can leave to wash it, Nano tells him that water would be wasted on such a tiny wound before cleaning it with her mouth. Rintaro stands flustered as the beautiful girl innocently cleans his wound. Later, while walking out of the class, Rintaro tries to get to know Nano better, but the girl doesn't budge at all. According to her, fun and hanging out are a waste of time and only academic prowess matters. Rintaro tries to convince her otherwise, but Nano leaves, staunch in her beliefs. We then see Nano's room, where she gets flustered thinking about how she sucked on Rentero's wound. Knowing the action to be illogical, Nano tries to distract herself with academics. After realizing Rentero is too distracting for her, she confesses her feelings to him the next day, only to turn him down after he accepts. Nano doesn't want to waste time on teen romance, but Rentero convinces her to at least try one date with him. The next day, Nano shows up in a nice, casual outfit to the amusement park. Rentero admires her beauty and shows her an old Polaroid that takes physical pictures. They go on to enjoy multiple swings, but Nano questions the logic behind each dumb ride. Finally, they get on the Ferris wheel, where the cold girl displays some emotion. Rentero realizes she's afraid of heights and sits with her. He holds her hand, and they get ready to leave afterward. Nano admits that she had fun, but it's all meaningless to her. Rentero thanks her for being honest, before lighting a fire to all the pictures they took of the meaningless day. Realizing the burnt pictures would be lost forever, Nano snatches away the pictures. Tears begin falling from her eyes, and Rentero tells her that she did indeed gain something meaningful that didn't necessarily carry any material worth, and that life was meant to be filled with such fun, meaningful experiences. Nano finally realizes her mistake and confesses to Rentero. After he accepts, she immediately kisses him, saying she doesn't like to inefficiently beat around the bush. The next day, Rentero introduces Nano to his other girlfriends, who happily accept her. When they learn that they already have a date, the girls get jealous. Hikari proposes a nice venue where they can all head later on a date. Later, Karen heads to a mall to pick a swimsuit, seeing that the ample Hikari chose a water park for their date. Feeling insecure, she picks a swimsuit she thinks Rentero will like. And thus, on their date, Rentero ascends to heaven seeing Nano and Hikari in swimsuits and the cute Shizuka in a modest school uniform. Karen comes in wearing a coat, too embarrassed to show her body, and leaves the group to themselves. Shizuka floats around in a tube, while Hikari pretends that the pool current is pushing her toward Rentero. Nano sees her sticking to his body and goes a step further by letting Rentero feel hers. Thus, both girls compete to be closer to Rentero. The heavenly sensations are too much for our boy, who passes out. No, passed away from blood loss due to nosebleed. In an attempt to revive him, the girls try mouth to mouth, but end up just greedily kissing Rentero. Meanwhile, Shizuka drifts away from the group, unable to swim back. She feels helpless after her floaty pops and gets stranded on a random patch of land, all alone with no one listening to her small voice. Back to Rentero, the girls leave to get a lifeguard. Trouble brews, though, when they encounter a bunch of men hitting on them. One of them gets too close to Hikari, but Nano pricks his eyes with her fingers. This makes them even angrier, and Nano realizes she needs a solution. She offers to hang out with the men and tells Hikari to run away. When Nano says she's been around for longer and Rentero would feel upset if she got hurt, Hikari tells her she doesn't understand Rentero fully before yelling at the men and running away with Nano. Suddenly, Rentero appears to protect his girlfriends. The man whines about getting his friend hurt, so Rentero offers to hang out with him as compensation, not really understanding how it works. Then, the men are nice enough to offer a concession to let Rentero leave with his girlfriend and leave the other girl to them. However, they get stupefied upon hearing they're both his girlfriends and challenge Rentero to prove it by kissing them. Rentero doesn't wish to show off his girlfriends, but both of them willingly kiss him in front of the men. They get creeped out and run away, leaving Rentero furious at their remarks. The girls then wonder how Rentero respond, and learn that Karen noticed their trouble and told Rentero his girlfriends were getting harassed. That was enough for the loving man to get Dragon Balled back to life. However, Rentero notices Shizuka is also missing. Upon learning she floated away, he panics and runs after her. Shizuka, whose phone battery has also run out, finally sees Rentero trying to find her. She musters her courage and lets out the tiniest of calls, which Rentero's careful ears immediately pick. He carries her out of the pool, and a happy Shizuka rewards him with a kiss. Afterward, Rentero talks to Karen about her insecurity. He tells her to not get jealous of Hikari and Nano, as their ample figures are exceptional for their ages. Then, he knows he just has to force her to reveal her swimsuit. Karen gets mad at Rentero, but he seems mesmerized by her beauty. He hugs her and tells her he loves all of his girlfriends just the way they are. This act wins over the tsundere Karen, who expects a kiss from him. After kissing Karen, Rentero returns to the girls with her, who also praise her cute swimsuit. Having all the issues sorted, the group goes on to have a wonderful time at the water park. One day, the girls are running with Rentero to get some high-quality pancakes at the cafeteria. They pass by a chemistry lab, where Rentero locks eyes with a mature scientist performing some tests. Both of them feel a shock in their hearts before Rentero leaves. The next day, Rentero revisits the lab. He finds a red-haired little girl, who gets him to try some of her inventions. This girl, called Kusuri, makes him drink a human magnet potion which draws both of them together. While the hug feels good, both of them are stuck together for 15 minutes and Kusuri, who needs to pee, uses her diaper. Kusuri begins showing her other inventions to Rentaro. He enjoys how pure she is in her medicine research but remembers that he's there to find his soulmate. Kusuri notices him staring at her and giggles giddily, revealing that she laced the previous potion with a love potion. After she confesses her love to him, Rentaro starts puking for some reason. Kusuri feels sad that he hates her so much that he'd puke the potion out, but Rentaro says that he doesn't want a drug to influence his feelings. Kusuri then notices him struggling in pain. She tries to give him a potion reversing medicine, but Rentaro is too distracted to get it. Thus, Kusuri drinks the potion into her mouth and transfers it to Rentaro's mouth with a kiss. This finally relieves his pain, but Rentaro gets confused since he still finds Kusuri extremely adorable. Kusuri blushes after realizing that the reason Rentaro puked out the medicine was that his body was already saturated with love for her. Suddenly, she transforms into a mature, older girl, the same one Rentaro previously saw and fell in love with. She reveals that this is her true appearance and that the smaller Kusuri is the result of a failed immortality potion, the effect of which must have been neutralized just now. Rentaro feels shocked as Kusuri pays no heed to her grown-up body, and thus, the next day, Rentaro introduces Kusuri to the rest of his girlfriends. Karen flips out at him for getting another degenerate, while Kusuri brings out potions for everyone. One of them is a drug that supposedly makes a girl hotter, which Hikari drinks to seduce Rentaro. However, it just melts off her clothes, and Rentaro immediately gives her his clothes to cover up. Hikari takes this opportunity to be the lewd creature she is and starts sniffing it for Rentaro's scent. Kusuri also makes other potions like bunny ear potions for Shizuka and hair manipulation potions for Nano. Afterward, the girls learn that Kusuri wants to join a medical research organization. After playing around with medicine, the girls sit down to have tea. Unfortunately, they drink from a thermos meant for Rentaro, which Kusuri laced with an uncontrollable urge to kiss your lover potion. Rentaro gets offended that she thinks he needs a potion to kiss his girlfriend, but it's too late since the girls have already drunk it. The potion, meant for guys, has a devastating effect on the girls, who turn into superhuman kiss zombies. Kusuri feels guilty about making another mess, just like in her past, and reveals that if the kiss zombies aren't reverted in an hour, they'll permanently lose their minds. Kusuri then runs away with Rentaro, aiming to get to the chem lab to make medicine. On their way there, Rentaro and Kusuri encounter the vice principal, who confronts them for running in the halls. Kusuri gets terrified and throws a potion at her that strips off her face. This causes the vice principal, who doesn't want anyone to see her real form, to retreat. Afterward, Rentaro realizes that Kusuri should split since the girls are after him. He gets chased by Shizuka, who trips and falls. This is an opportunity for him to get away, but Rentaro immediately runs back to his cute little zombie girlfriend to treat her. After the treatment, though, Shizuka drowns him in kisses, almost making him lose it. However, Rentaro manages to regain his willpower and tie her up before leaving. Next, he encounters Hikari and Karen, who both take turns kissing him. When the two of them start fighting over the kisses even in zombie form, Rentaro gets an idea. He gets them to kiss each other and finds out that they both quite like each other. Rentaro would do anything to keep watching the heavenly scene but needs to leave for his other girlfriend. Nano, the smartest one, is the final obstacle. Rentaro encounters Nano in front of the chemistry lab and hides in a locker, only to find Kusuri inside as well. She feels bad about the whole fiasco and declares that she won't ever research her medicine again since they caused so much trouble. Kusuri then takes out an emergency reversal vial, but downs it herself to Rentaro's confusion. She tries to sneak out in her mature form, but Nano recognizes her since she reveals her own name and ties her up. Rentaro feels hopeless inside the locker but notices the broken vial and plans something out. He runs out, attracting Nano to him. Rentaro tries to hide in a storage room but Nano breaks in and begins kissing him. After an eternity of kissing, Kusuri comes in with a vial and returns her to normal. Rentaro knew that the mature Kusuri would revert to her small form and get freed from the ropes, so he took Nano somewhere else. Later, all the girls reunite. Hikari and Karen pretend like they definitely don't remember kissing each other. Kusuri apologizes to all the girls and promises to never make medicine again. However, Rentaro reminds her that her medicine saved the day and promises to clean up her messes whenever she makes them to keep her dream going. This results in a sincere, loving kiss from a tearful Kusuri. After the kiss zombie incident, we see a foreign house. An elegant, commanding-looking woman is seen speaking to Hikari, who lowers her head in sadness. A few days later, the girls visit a flower park with Rentaro. Hikari sits with him and wishes to participate in a flower toss event she dreamed of winning since her childhood. The winner of the flower toss would wear a bride costume and take a picture with her lover. To win the event for Hikari, the group teams up. The Rentaro family enters the mix against the favorites to win, the Gorilla Syndicate. The vice principal, a special guest for the event, tosses the bouquet. The mighty Gorilla Syndicate starts bending rules and throwing their members at competitors. Seeing this, Karen gets mad and wrestles with their leader, displaying shocking strength. The gorillas use a technique to create an air current and direct the bouquet towards their own members, but lift Shizuka up in the process. She snags the bouquet for the win. The girls decide to take a photo with Rentaro through a lucky draw. Hikari ends up winning but remembers something and gives up her spot to someone else. The girls refuse though, so she takes a group photo with them while wearing a bridal dress. Hikari then thanks Rentaro for fulfilling her childhood dream before requesting that they break up. Later in his hotel room, Rentaro feels confused as to why she'd request such a thing. He finds out that Hikari has gone missing. He visits her house, which is actually a giant mansion. Rentaro finally sees Hikari in her room and contacts her through the phone. She claims that she just fell out of love, but Rentaro grills her for the truth. It turns out that her mother discovered her relationship with Rentaro and forbade her from being with a polyamorous guy. Rentaro is then picked up by a security guard, who had been ordered by Hikari's mother to keep him out. We then see a flashback of Hikari begging her mother to let her stay with her lover. However, her rich and powerful mother had threatened to get rid of Rentaro if Hikari didn't oblige, making her obey. Later, Rentaro feels helpless, wondering how he could help out his girlfriend. He sees a four-leaf clover and gets determined. Rentaro tells his other girlfriends about the situation and informs them that he'll infiltrate the house and run away with Hikari. The girls remain unconvinced though, and staunchly declare that they'll be coming with them to help their fellow girlfriend. The Rentaro family arrives at the Hanazono estate, ready to get their family member out. They sneak past the gate, before trying to knock into Hikari's room with a ball. However, a cat gets their ball instead. Ruining plan of the group then decides to full invade. And Nano opens the front door through a precise series of pebble shots. Karen notices some bleeding on her finger from the accuracy and force behind the shots and thanks her. Nano says that she owes Hikari a favor for protecting her at the pool. The group heads inside, where they encounter a terrifying guard dog. Shizuka gets left behind after they head out, but Rentaro remains reassured. The dog simply starts kissing the adorable Shizuka, and Kirumi rolls in a sleeping medicine to Shizuka, which the poor girl takes herself. Luckily, the dog falls asleep with her, allowing the group further access. Inside, they encounter an infrared-guarded corridor, where Rentaro takes an infrared-seeing medicine. He sees that the whole room is filled with light and would immediately launch an alarm if they trespass. He decides to team up with Karen, and they both stand sideways together to slowly inch up to the roof, where they begin making their way across the room. On their way, Rentaro begins feeling Karen's sweaty stomach but is forced to endure. After the two of them make it through, the rest of the girls head outside. Karen and Rentaro finally find Akari's room and enter. However, it is also rigged with an alarm, and guards come in to take the two of them away. Hikari feels helpless and miserable. She blames herself for making Rentaro risk his life for her sake and thinks that he'll waste his life away for her sake. Hikari gets into very, very dangerous thoughts. Meanwhile, Rentaro and Karen are taken into Hikari's mother, Hahari's room. There, she explains that she gave birth at 13 through artificial insemination, all for the sake of her dying lover. The man had left her a child as a keepsake, but Hahari regretted the void of his absence forever. She explains that since she knew her daughter would blindly fall in love just like her, she wanted to keep Hikari away from such regrets with a 5-timing boyfriend. Rentaro feels horrible at this story and feels his vision returning. Once it does, though, his locked eyes with Hahari send a jolt through both of them. The lonely mother feels something stir at the young man's sight after all those years. She turns blind just like she did all those years ago, and proposes to Rentaro like a hopeless teen in love. Back in Hikari's room, she quietly gets up after crying and heads straight for her window. Back in Hahari's room, Karen flips out at the woman for falling in love with her daughter's boyfriend. She notices Rentaro love-struck as well before Hahari laughs it off and claims she was joking. Then, she brings up Rentaro's loyalty again and prepares a lie detector machine to test his love for Hikari. To assure credibility, Karen is first tested on the machine. The poor tsundere is made to commit the hardest task ever, sincerely admitting to her feelings. She is forced to admit the extent of her love for Rentaro before Rentaro admits all his love for Hikari. The machine deems him truthful, which Hahari finds hard to accept. In the midst of this, a maid rushes over to reveal that Hikari is about to throw herself out. Hahari gets up to see her daughter, but suddenly Karen restrains her with a chokehold. She tells Rentaro to go save Hikari, knowing that Hahari might never let them be together. Rentaro runs off and finds Hahari at the edge of the window. She turns around and tells him that she doesn't want to live a life that would get him hurt and unhappy, so Rentaro reminds her that by leaving him, she is also doing the same thing. With a sincere heart, he promises that he'll bear all hardships with her, and that just by being with her, no matter what happens, he'll stay happy. At this, Hikari's feelings of love emerge and she decides to come back. However, she notices the height she's standing on. Rentaro slowly approaches the frightened girl, but she trips and falls. Without hesitation, Rentaro jumps and catches her hand. He falls with her and kicks off of a wall into a pool. The day is saved, and a relieved Rentaro hugs Hikari. Karen comes out. Also relieved, she slaps Hikari for her dumb actions, and the three of them hug each other. Hikari comes downstairs, surprised and amazed that Rentaro would risk his life just for his lover. She is finally convinced and begs Rentaro to take care of her daughter. Rentaro notices her actions and feels moved by her desire to so lovingly protect her daughter. He promises Hikari to take care of both her and her daughter, wanting the regretful Hikari to experience life with a lover as well. This makes her start swooning over him again. Hikari is shocked by the revelation and Hikari pulls Rentaro-chan into her motherly embrace. Later, Hikari prepares a relaxing bath for everyone. Karen, unable to take all the boobage, gets out of the bath. She encounters Rentaro, who blushes at her tummy. Remembering the earlier scene with the lasers, she starts nuzzling Rentaro's belly as payback before everyone else comes into the room. Hikari makes Rentaro turn around before dressing up all the girls. He is greeted with the sight of all his girlfriends in cute pajamas. The sight is too exciting for Hikari herself to bear, and she excuses herself to go outside. Rentaro goes out to support her and promises her that more exciting and joyful things will happen to her from then on. Hikari finally seems to be unable to bear her mature self and turns to look at Rentaro with an expression full of desire and need. Rentaro blushes fiercely when she calls him into her room, and thus ensues a lovely scene where Rentaro begs Hikari to stop. Meanwhile, in the girls' room, Hikari gets worried that Rentaro might have gotten caught by her mother. Soon, though, the girls get surprised with a crossdresser Princess Rentaro. From the shock of getting humiliated in front of all his girlfriends, Rentaro actually passes away. To bring back the princess, Hikari gets Nano to dress up as a sharp prince, whose kiss revives the sleeping beauty. Unable to take the embarrassment, the awoken Rentaro leaves to take a bath. Suddenly, all the girls get the feminine urge to spy on the poor man's body. Shizuka is the only one with the decency to refuse, but the pint-sized angel gets rolled up into a burrito and tossed away. In his bath, Rentaro feels paranoid, knowing his girlfriends. He feels like he saw a shadow in the window and gets terrified. Meanwhile, back in the girls' room, Shizuka decides to roll out to stop her scheming counterparts. The girls, on the other hand, get up to the attic since spying from the window failed. Rentaro hears their noises and gets terrified, praying for his misery to end. Shizuka, meanwhile, rolls down from the stairs and straight into the bath. Rentaro initially gets frightened by her soaked long hair but relaxes when he finds out who it is. However, his towel falls, revealing to only the pious Shizuka what the girls all wanted. Afterward, Rentaro lectures the girls for being a bunch of perverts while Shizuka rests, passed out from the intense experience. Later, Rentaro follows Hikari out of the room. He sees her lighting incense for her late husband and joins her to pay his respects. Upon learning that she feels guilty about falling in love with him after her first man, Rentaro comforts her that she doesn't have to forget about her first love for his sake. He grants her wish of a first kiss, fulfilling what Hikari's husband also desired. After he comes back to his room to sleep, Hikari snuggles up to him, overwhelmed by the day's events. Eventually, though, she ends up kissing Karen while thinking it's Rentaro. Later at night, Rentaro wakes up and goes out for a walk. He encounters a projection of Hikari's husband, who glares at him for taking away his wife and daughter. However, Rentaro's sweet attitude wins him over and he gives up the protective father trope. Rentaro reassures the man he'll take great care of his family, and the man agrees, trusting him. The reliable Rentaro eases all of the man's doubts, whose spirit gets cleansed and put to rest after all those years. The next morning, school begins as usual, and the lovers part ways. Rentaro later runs back to Hikari's mansion to meet her, only to learn that she actually bought the school just to be with him. He rushes back to the building to see all his girlfriends waiting for him. The season ends with our lucky Chad having a future full of estrogen ahead of him. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel for similar content.